That one's not working. Red. Okay, solid snap, hollow snap. What does the difference mean? Hollow. I'm back. Thanks for joining me. I'm actually just fixing my warrior training sign that I just sewed all around the letters. You know how hard that is? And I had to refill the thread 3 times. But I did it. And every time I do something, it sucks, but it gets better every time I do it again. So I got the first one under my belt. Looks like crap, but doesn't smell like it, so that's good. It's a bonus. Anyways, I got these 2 strips. One says warrior, one says training, and I want to hang them behind me. So for my market with minimal stuff, so I got these buttons, snap buttons, that I'm going to put on because the market's tomorrow. Ooh, and I got I always do a free something. Always a writing event, so it gets children or adults writing, which is going to be a lost art because everyone's typing. So it's 1, getting everyone to write. 2, it's getting them to do something with intention and purpose of healing all of humanity. So I give them a journal prompt, and then they get an opportunity to take that journal prompt and write it to somebody, might be themselves or somebody else, and it's a positive message. And so then they get to take that letter home after I see it, and then they give it to that person, which makes it a gift that's a handwritten gift saying something kind to somebody else. So it doubles as that. So it's a good handwriting exercise because it's going to be a long lost art. So it's teaching them patience. It's teaching them to do something that they don't really like to do. A lot of people don't want to handwrite. So when they do that, they have a gift, and it just takes a moment to recognize someone that you want to know that they're amazing. So why not do this free activity where it's beautiful paper and beautiful envelopes, and you can gift it. It doesn't cost you anything. Then once they complete that, I have an opportunity for them to do an activity, and it's a gift. So last time it was a charm, and they could put on a bracelet or a necklace or a phone charm, and I've just got so many ideas. And it's usually, so it's not always going to be just a gift. It might be something that they can make that's for them. So I'll give all the materials so they don't have to pay any money, and then they get to participate in a kindness activity, and then also another craft as a gift for doing what they wanted, and then they could take it as well with them. It doesn't cost a thing. So this is what I'm doing because I teach about energy exchange, that we have to be helping each other and encouraging good behavior. Okay, you mentioned cutting these off, make it look a little better, a little bit more professional. Anyways, what questions you have? Oh, you like the live, thank you. So yeah, this is my warrior training sign because that's what I'm doing. I wrote a book, or I wrote many books, but I'm one of them, the one that I'm working on lots. One of the big ones that's the next one, that's the next closest one to being finished, but that doesn't mean anything because I might go work on another one and then speed past that one and be closer. But right now, the closest one to being finished that I haven't written yet is the Warrior Training Manual. And it's for youth so that they can be empowered and heal and prevent unnecessary pain and suffering in their life, their bullying and all that. So it's applicable to adults as well, but I've just aimed it towards youth because I want everyone to understand that youth will be, it's aimed for them so that they can understand it. It's very complex ideas and knowledge, but it's all explained very simply so that even small youth can benefit from them. If you explained to a child what the words mean, they will understand. What you don't realize is that when they're a baby, they're an empty computer computer system. Your mind is a computer system. So when you're first born, it's a completely empty computer system. So that means even if they're not going, yeah, I understand, and repeating the concept, that whatever you're saying to them, it's getting put into their system forever. Forever, ever. Forever, ever, ever. Forever, ever, ever. So when you realize that, you want to make sure that the things you do are kind and loving and caring. And you need to understand that people that are harmful, they're mentally unwell. They're either maliciously doing it or they've been made sick and been turned against you. Because that's what happens with humans. Humans either are kind to you or they attack you, and they attack you for two reasons. One is because they have been turned against you, or two, because they are mentally sick. And one is the same, and they're both sick actually, but one is malicious, the other one doesn't realize why they're being mean because they've been turned against you and infected with something that's clouding their ability to critical think. That's what narcissists do. Kind of lumpy, my letters. You win some, you lose some. But it's kind of good because I'm going to be teaching about warriors, and that's an old school concept. It's one of the first things that we were taught by Creator was how to defend ourselves. Because if we don't defend ourselves, people will walk all over us. We know this because that's what they do. If you don't have boundaries, or you're groomed to not have boundaries, or you've been attacked, so you're afraid to set boundaries, or you've been used and abused so much that you know that boundaries aren't going to stop them. They're just going to do whatever they're going to do anyways. So you just give up sometimes because it's exhausting when you're fighting for your life all of the time since birth. People don't realize that people have been under attack in their very own freaking city, not other countries. You say it comes out of other countries and Canada's so good. No, it's not. Look what the Canadian government's done to me. Just me. Just look at mine. Don't look at anything else, and look at what Canada has done to me. It's amazing that I'm as calm as I am, and I'm not out there destroying everything and everybody because no one stopped and everyone knew about it and no one helped. Y'all are jerks. But lucky for me, right when I was giving up, Jesus Christ, ascended masters, archangels, angels, ancestors, and I say Jesus Christ, God, they all stepped in and healed me. They're the ones that got me to remove my breast implants. And that lasted 10 hours, and it should have been 3.5. Why, might you ask? It's because my body was trying to break down the breast implants. And so, yeah, I got them, and it's ridiculous. I saw a picture of me with them uh, today, and I didn't notice how many years ago. I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to delete this off of social media. But I've got short shorts on, and I've got my money's worth because I thought if I'm getting breast implants, because I asked someone else, they got it, and she said it made her happy. She kept saying it made her happy, it made her happy. And so I went up to her and I said, seriously, does it make you happy? Because I've been so broken. If there was a button to end it, I would have pushed it in endless times. I tried to do it myself, couldn't do it. Couldn't bring myself to do it. But if there was a button, I instantly would have pushed it. I even used to pray that someone would allow me to hire them to do it to me. Like, seriously, that's how bad it was, how much I did not want to live. So now it's different, though. I do want to live, and I understand that only unhealthy people want to not live. And so if you're like that, then you need help. And you need to remember that the voices that are trying to make you feel bad about yourself with guilt and shame and blah, 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 those are your haters. Okay, there's differences. There's people that have done things, and there are people that think they've done things, and they've been gaslit and made to believe that they're the cause of all these problems. And the thing is, if you're in an enclosed space with multiple people that are ganging up on you, but some of them are pretending that they're friends with you, and they're actually not, but they're actually pretending to be nice, and they don't ever do anything bad, but they stay close to you so they can know everything about you and provide all the details to the others who will go and use it to harm you. This is how methodical people are when they're trying to harm others. They're demonic. So this is a real thing. These are called narcissists. They're abusive humans that are seeking a prey, someone to feed off of energetically by getting into a relationship with them, whether it's friends or dating. So you're in proximity, because every time you've chosen to be in their proximity, there's an energy exchange going on. One is bringing one down and one is lifting one up. Always. There are some people where when they're around me, it's like, oh. And I know that after they see me, they're like, wow, oh, that was amazing. And that was yesterday when there's someone that says they're my friend, and yet three different things. They literally lied to me, and I caught them in it. But they were going on with the lie for a long time. And then I said, are you serious? And then they turned around and I told them how it was obvious that like they're contradicting, and their face just changed. And it changed like, oh, I've been caught like a child, but it was disgusting. Because it reminded me of the father of my kids, who he was a narcissist, or still is, would say lies, and when I'd catch him and prove it in front of his face would do this change from no, I'm not, to like a sinking whatever. And but it was a sick, we get the sickness. I don't know how to explain it, but it's gross. That's the expression that she had yesterday, and it made me sick to my stomach, because it's someone that's being malicious. They're lying to you, which is being malicious to get you to behave in a certain way. So I literally called her out on it yesterday. And then I also called her out on a whole bunch of other things right in the same time. And I've never done this before, especially to be able to do it in a peaceful manner, but drill it home, like making her understand. Because with the words, what happened was I was respectful completely, but I told the truth in such a way that it drilled home, and it took my power back. Because when someone's trying to lie to you to get you to have a behavior, and so you're going along with it because you're believing the lie, and then all of a sudden you're like, what? Are you serious? You realize that they're manipulating you. Why? There's not even a reason why. They just do it. And this is what narcissists do. They just do it for fun. They like, because it's power. If you think in terms of energy, that's why. Because it's logically, you're like, why would they even do it? It doesn't even matter. Why would they say that to get me to do that? It's just a pain for me, but I'm just kind. So I will cooperate with you because you're my friend, but you're lying to me. So I find out that, and I'm like, why would you even lie about that? And so this is what narcissists do. They lie about, it seems like, anything and nothing, but you realize that these lies are actually power. When they get you to believe a lie, they make an energetic connection. They're fishing. It's a hook. So it's a hook that's dangerous. I'm thinking, if I'm the narcissist, I'm thinking that I'm going to catch you. So I'm going to throw a lie at you. And you'll be like, no, that's not true. That's not true. And then you go, oh, really? And you take that lie. You're now on that hook. you're believing something and you're making it part of your truth because you're holding on to it as a truth. And so it's making a connection with the person that told you the lie. So because that person told you a lie, it's an energetic connection, like a thread going to them, and you're holding on to it. And that thread, because we're living, it's not dead. Dead doesn't move. Living moves. So that means the energy is flowing from them to us and us to them. They're full of impurities because they're trying to catch us, to use us and lie to us. So they're sending us poison. We're getting filled with poison. And then what's inside of us? It's the good stuff. It's kindness and love, so they're getting it back. So when they tell us a lie and get us to do something like that, they're receiving more of your good energy through that and that thread. And so they're feeding off of your energy. So you think that, why are they doing it? There's no reason at all. It's just this, and this. No, there's a reason. The reason is that they're making an energetic connection, and when you hold on to the lie, lets them feed off. You're making a connection, so that means you're switching. So if you're up here very in a good mood and they're down here, as soon as you're in the same room, you're making an energetic connection. And so you're living together, and eventually this one's going to say something to tick you off, and it's going to be moving you down, and you're going to be trying to hold up and telling them that they're amazing or whatever, and trying to lift them up, and they're like, nope, they'll pull you down, and then they'll feed you up. Because when you give them energy to lift them up, you're still also depleting your own to lift them up. So a master at energy is able to stay this high and use their words and lift them up as well. But this is mastery. If you're in the room with somebody and you don't have that, then they have the ability to draw you down, even if you're lifting them up. Because the lower you are, the more heavier it is. The more pure you are, the more light you are. So it's easier to drop you down to negativity in an instant with one word or one look. But it's very difficult to get someone from very low lifted up very high. Where's my water? Darn it. So when you understand this about energy, it helps you navigate life more easier because you're understanding psychology and why people are doing things. And then you're like, wait a second, you're not even nice. And exactly, that's it. When you start looking and realizing that these people around you, 99% of them, sometimes even 100% of the ones that are around you right now, are not your friend. They're around you because if you're not aware of what's going on, you're either the predator or the prey. And if you're not aware what's going on, surprise, you're the prey. Because the predators are aware of what's going on and they're taking advantage of whoever they can. And no one realizes that this is dog eat dog world. It's literally survival of the fittest. So we're in days like today, and everyone's like, oh, it's 2025. And, thinking it's so futuristic and everyone's so, what's the word, evolved. But no, they're not. They're exactly the same as when they had the Sodom and Gomorrah and when the ark was made because everyone was so naughty. And it's the same way all the time because man gets involved. Women were brought to earth first. We're goddesses. We literally were created first, and then we created man. And so we just grew it and spit it out. And so that's what happened. And so they didn't like it though. And because we come with vulnerability, because we're like gods, we're very feminine, and we created something the exact opposite of us, which is man. That's where the positive and negative comes in. So I gotta get these put on before I get tired. Okay, hollow snap button. Hollow base, solid base. Male, female. Hollows. What's the difference? Oh, here. Not recommended for thick material, hard silk, or hard products. Not. Oh, neither of them are recommended for thick material. I think this would be considered thick material, wouldn't it? Dang it. What is the difference between solid color snap button and hollow snap button? What difference does that make? Oh, one's a male front. I don't understand. This is like IKEA. Actually, this is worse than IKEA, but it's all in English and it has really good photos. Hey, I don't understand what the difference is. Hollow base, solid base. Got it. Hollow. What is a hollow snap button? They look the freaking same. That is the same. I'm sure of it. And these ones, male, female. Let's go with this one. All right, we're gonna go with red. Oh, black. Yeah. Oh, white. White. Okay, wait. What pieces am I looking for? Male button. Female button. What? Oh, okay. So this one is. Okay, I'm just gonna use three pins. This is. I'll end up with. Yeah. Ugh. Sometimes making stuff and crafting is not that easy. Also, a lot of people say it's blood, sweat, and tears. You have no idea. Like, I don't know what year it was. I have to look at the video, but I had an incision here. I mean, a surgery here because it split open and my thumb came backwards and out of my hand. So my bone was sticking out, but it was aimed like my thumb was back here, this angle, and actually coming out was degloved. So that's disgusting. And then I had to put my glove back on and push the guts in and drive for 40 minutes with my arm on the dirt bike throttle like this around advanced terrain. Like I'm talking around freaking trees and stuff with my thumb out of it for 40 minutes. And then we got to the vehicle because it was just me and my son. And he was the one saying, let's go. And I'm like, I can't ride my bike. And he's like, let's go. And because I realized now he was scared, I was like, I can't. And she said, well, I'm going. And I said, well, you can't leave me here with the bears. And then as soon as I said the bears, I was like, ah. It was in British Columbia where it's like lots of bears. And I knew that I had my guts out. So I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, wait. And then he stopped a little bit. He said, come on, hurry up. And so I had no choice, I thought. Because when I went to the hospital, I was waiting. They gave a shot in it. And oh my gosh, that was excruciating. So then I was just laying in this chair and then it started getting numb. So then I was having fun. And my son was there and I didn't realize that he was disgusted by it. So as I started to feel numbing in there, I was starting to feel happier. I'd be like, what's your problem? And I'd be like, oh my God, look at it. Because I couldn't feel it anymore in my hand. And the doctor had already relocated it or whatever he called. I had already pushed the guts in. He cleaned it and folded it back and then stuck. So what happened was I was sitting there waiting for them to come back to sew it. And a whole bunch of handsome doctors came in, a whole bunch, probably between 8 and 12. I don't know, because the room was not very big. It may be 10 feet by 10 feet. It just had enough room for my son sitting on a circle stool and me in a sit-up chair and a couple, like a side of cupboards, not very much. And then all of a sudden, all these handsome men with white coats came in and walked around and filled up the whole room. And I was like, what is going on? And my son looks up and they all started clapping. And I was like, what the heck? I was like, what's going on? And I'm like, is this for me? And they're like, yeah, any man would have had to have been helicoptered out. And they were still clapping. And I said, what? I said, Michael, I said, you told me that I had no choice and I had to go. If I would have known, I would have got a helicopter ride and it wouldn't have been so hard. And so they still were clapping, but I was ticked off because I would have much rather had a helicopter ride. And so this is the thing. Everyone thinks that I'm so tough for all of the things that I've endured throughout my whole life and how I've stood and silent because I had no choice. Because I grew up with white people, segregated and assimilated. They all used me and abused me. If I stood up for myself, they would all gang up on me, discourage me, tell me to stop being like that, be grateful, and all of these things. So no one ever helped me. Doctors, physician, everything. You call, ask for help, they turn you down, abuse you, even more, all of these things. And everyone thinks that, oh, you're so strong and whatever. No, I had no freaking choice. I had no freaking choice. And if I'd known, if, or no, if this is the thing, I only endured all of it because I had no choice, and I had to either, what was I going to do? They were, it's like being in a cage. They seal your record, so you have no ethnicity. They seal your record, so you have no family. You don't know where you came from, anything. So I was with this ethnicity, for 51 years, and it's like being locked in a cage with a whole bunch of people that are using and abusing you. You're going to try to find a corner to get out until someone comes and finds you, and you're going to try to get away. But if they're all around you, then you just have to be like this. You might try to fight sometimes. Sometimes you'll just say, fine, whatever. Give them whatever they want. And sometimes you argue and argue until you finally give in, because you're in an environment where only the predators are interested in you. Healthy people are like, why are they going to want to talk to a grown foster kid or foster kid? They're not gonna. Healthy people are minding their own business, focusing on themselves. They're not focusing on the vulnerable. So me, I actually didn't realize I had a choice. It was either be eaten alive or just try to go along with everything. And if they beat me down, just work with the best of your abilities and keep going, because you cannot let them destroy you. This is what they taught me. They taught me that, so that's why. And that's why I'm not like the rest of the foster kids and stuff. But if I'd known that there was another choice, I probably would have went there. So my life is not easy, and it's still not, but I really don't have a choice. And so apparently, since I'm so strong, I am supposed to be teaching other kids how to navigate through their pain and suffering. Because if I can get out like this, it's because we don't think, this is the thing. If I'd have known there was an option to quit, then I would have quit. There isn't an option to quit. We use it as an excuse to quit and give up, but there really is not, because quitters quit. Unhealthy people quit. If you're healthy and you're working for God, you're going to never quit. That's what a mother does. Never quit. And that's the thing. I need to remember that having a break isn't the same as quitting. Although there were 2 weeks that I did quit. And then I was like, hey, take me back, take me back. So I understand what it's like to suffer. So just, we shouldn't look at me and judge me because I don't look like my experiences, because society naturally judges people, and society is the cause of all of the pain and suffering, and it's very predictable what's going to happen to people. But you need to remember, just like we say, not all white people, when you say it's predictable that people that have been through the things that I've been look like whatever or act like whatever, well, I can say not all those people, just like they do. So I'm one of the, because we're all separate. So that means if you have two people, they're going to have one that's more than the other and other than less than the other in every single trait that you put them on. So they're never ever going to be equally the same. So that's why, there's always going to be someone faster, slower, smarter, even if you have just two of you. One of them's going to be better at things, and one of them's going to be not better. So the more people you add, the larger the scale is, because no two people are on the same level. And so we're all on a big, huge spectrum. And I'm way on the weird side regarding abuse. It happened, but I didn't respond to it the same way. And the reason being is because of my variables. I didn't respond the same way because I was completely enslaved into an environment, and all of the things that happened to me shaped the way that I perceive everything, because I was fully indoctrinated. I thought I was a black person. Up until I got my birth certificate, I saw myself as someone extremely, extremely like black. That's how warped my self identity was, is that I saw myself physically like as a black very dark skin because I'd only been around racists and called every ethnicity you can imagine and had horrible things done to me while these names and things were done to me, said to me. So it poisoned my identity, my sense of identity, because, and it was right since birth, and I never had anybody to console me ever or ask me about racism or anything. So all of these things stayed inside me and shaped how I behaved. And I was, if you think of how dogs are, it's predictable that a dog that's been severely abused is going to be a pleaser because they're not going to want to be beaten or whatever. They're just going to want to be, and they're going to stay away from anyone that abuses them. So it's predictable that when someone's being endlessly abused, and in a cage, if you think of a dog in a cage with a whole bunch of abusers, then they're going to be snapping. That dog's going to be snapping at everybody. And if that dog has pups, the dog is going to look after and defend its own children, its offspring, unless the dog has been beaten and abused, so then it's scared to fight for its children. In addition, if the children start attacking the dog that's been beaten by everybody else, then that dog is going to feel that the children have turned against that dog. So the dog will be defending itself from everybody, trying to get in a corner and getting everyone to leave them. And if that dog is harmed physically or emotionally by the pups, they're going to lash out. Reasonably so, because they've been abused by everybody. So if they get any negativity by even their own children, they're going to lash out because it's negative. They've had no love. It's the people are turning off the love and the respect. So a dog is just like a human. A human has feelings and emotions. Women have feelings and emotions. Brown women have feelings and emotions, just like everybody else. So the reason for treating all of these women and brown people like this is really malicious, because we know that people are affected by people that are mean and cruel. And we've got people intervening in the mother-child relationship, and the mother is having to let someone take her child when she's still lactating. There's absolutely no reason that any mother of any child or species should have their baby taken away to give to a third party, let alone a male. And I stand by that. Every woman has the right to choose whether they want to let everyone access their child or just one. But I want you to know that the number one defining factor of whether there's going to be abuse to a child is if there is a man in the home. And so if there's a man in the home, that's what is the biggest factor of child abuse as well as domestic abuse. And men are the number one threat to women and children. So that means that the problem is men. Also, the children are the mothers, because the mother has that child inside of them before it's born, and that means that is one being. That's one being that's procreating, but it's still attached to itself and is one existence. So the child is the mother, and the mother is the child. It's like having a piece of clay, and then I decide I'm going to have two pieces of clay. So I'm going to clone it by taking some of it, and I'm going to put it to the side. That piece of clay is the exact same composition of the clay that made it. Even when it's being pulled apart and it's two separate pieces, but it's still connected, that's one piece of clay. That's the same clay. It's now just cloned itself. So meshing is together, yes. And so when you separate mother from child, the child is still the mother and the mother is still the child. And the third party comes in when they're not supposed to and separates mother from itself. It's the mother that's supposed to do that. And the mother, and then the mother is separated, and now the mother is two. And then you get a third party telling the children to not listen to the mother, that the mother is crazy, that the mother is controlling, that the mother is manipulative, the mother smothering. These are all lies told to the children, twisting the responsibilities of a mother to keep them safe. So, of course, it seems like smothering. That was a man made word. They just added the S to mothering so that it makes children think that there's something wrong with a mother being very good at what she does, and that is protecting her children. And then controlling. It's teaching your children right from wrong and reminding them. This goes on up until the mother dies. The mother guides them for the entirety of the mother's life. So when you have a third party get in between, and it's usually the same gender, a male, and it's usually the mom or the dad. Hi, I was reading that. I thought it said mom. Mermaid Nick? Mermaid Nick. So when I talk about this, it rages inside of me. It rages inside of me because now I understand what was done to myself and my children. And this is the thing. People always say don't get in between a mother bear and her cubs, and then you get these arrogant people say, yeah, only an idiot would get in between a mother bear and her cubs, but yet they get in between me and my children. So this is a problem for me. It was for the whole time of my life. I said no multiple times, and they wouldn't take no, and affected my children's lives against my permission, and I had no recourse because I was enslaved into them like a dog in a cage and not able to escape because they all had each other and stuck together. Now that I'm out, you can still see that they all stick together because not one of them has apologized for what happened or said, "Are you okay?" or "I'm sorry." Nothing. So all of the people that were part of my life, friends and family, from the fathers of my children, and yeah, fathers. I didn't pick the father of my children. He actually violated me when I had a hip-to-hip incision after just having someone else's child, and he was there to pick me up. And he assaulted me and impregnated me against my will when I said no multiple times. So this is, and that's just another stigma. As soon as I say that, everyone that's in the white demographics, like, oh yeah, fathers, like I chose this. No, both times the men are white and they violated me and they're shit fathers. Very shit. Abusive. Who abuses a mother of their children? If they don't love the children, who does that? They're disgusting humans. So I'm teaching women, girls, I mean, to how to watch out for these men because we've got to put an end to it because it's been ongoing. So that means this next generation of boys are going to do the exact same thing as their fathers because apple and tree. So that means it's up to mothers to intervene as soon as possible. And it's going to be difficult because we don't even have the same amount of time with our children as we had before. Because now the legal system that's made by men for men has intervened in our life even more, taking our children and making visitations and custodies with the fathers. What? Are you serious? It's the most ridiculous thing. It's a system that's designed by deviants to feed the deviants and perverts. It's because they're all working together to destroy humanity and take advantage of the women. We're used and abused and mistreated and degraded and humiliated, and no one is of male is going to do anything about it because they're all the same. If they're not the same, then they would have stopped it because the men say they're not all bad. But if that's not true, then if there's at least half that's good, then the good ones would have stopped it. And since no one is stopping it, that means that they're all the problem. So we cannot rely on the men to make the rules on how to protect us when the men are the ones that are abusing us and our children. And it's the mother's responsibility to protect her young with her life. That's why it's called a mother bear. Look at all the other gorillas and chimpanzees and everything. They're responsible for their children. So if we are having injuries to our children because of men, it's not because of it's because of the legal system and stuff, but it's our responsibility. We are responsible for not allowing others to control our upbringing of ourselves. We're cloning ourselves, so we're in charge of ourselves. What makes a third party feel that they're like entitled? An oyster gets an impurity inside it. They didn't willingly get the sand in when we're injecting it on our own. We're taking oysters and injecting one on our own and making a pearl, and the pearl is still beautiful, but it's not a naturally made pearl. It's a man made pearl, and it was made with force, intruding on the free will of another existence because they can do it on their own. An oyster chooses when it will take a grain of sand in and it will make a pearl. The oyster chooses. But no, man gets in there and goes, you know what, we're going to start injecting them in and killing all of these oysters and for pearls so they can harvest them. And it's the same thing for women, is that we can choose who gives us a grain of sand and we make a pearl, or other people can force themselves and give us their gross dirt and we can make something beautiful out of it. But we did all the work. When a man forces a piece of sand into the oyster, does the man get the credit for doing all of the things? No. He used his free will to intrude on someone and force a natural act to happen, but they used their free will to influence somebody else to get them to do something that they didn't want to do. But it's a natural thing that their body does. But they get to choose when and where they get to use it. But no, a man comes in and they're forcing us to do what we do for them like a golden goose, so then they can take what we naturally do that is ours and so it's like they're coming and attacking us until we give them what they want. And so the men don't get any glory and honor for making the baby. And this is the whole thing. The patriarchy, that's what they're doing. They are now saying that men can have babies and men can lactate and men get the babies. But what are happening to these babies and children? We know what's happening. And of course, not all of them are doing it, but we also need to remember that most of them aren't even being reported. And we don't know that not all of them are, realistically, because it's almost 100% of the abusers that are men that are doing 100% of the abusing. And because the men have not stepped in, that they say they're good to stop the actual thing, that tells me that it's more than 50% of the men that are working towards using and abusing women for their own benefit. So remember, when you have a team that's trying to score a goal or whatever, you've got the offense and you've got the defense and you've got the goalie. And so that means that you're going to have some that are aggressive and do the physical being mean. And then you're going to have others that be really nice, but they're actually working for the opposite team and they're only being nice so that they can be in control of you, know where you are, and that's power, because then they've got an eye on you. So remember this. It's very, very hard to live in this world because you can't trust anybody. And there are very malicious people all over. Remember, there's things that are not healthy for you in the food. People that don't like you are going to be trying to give you things that are unhealthy. They're going to be trying to give you things with sugar in it. People that don't like you are giving you unhealthy food. If they cared about you, they would not be giving you unhealthy food all of the time. I know that you can't afford healthy food all of the time, but we also way overeat. We don't need anywhere near as much food as we look at the size of everybody. That's living proof that you overindulgence. That's one of the deadly sins, is overindulgence. You have to learn how to have self-control and self-mastery for all of your thoughts and actions and emotions in order to come into your power. You can't be powerful if you can get wooed by, ooh, a donut. That was me. I admit it. I'm overcoming my addiction to food. This is the thing. Addictions are hard enough to overcome, but when everywhere you look, there's freaking donuts and sugary stuff, it's near impossible to say no all the time, but it is possible. Seems near impossible, but it's not impossible. You just have to choose not to participate any longer. And then that's when you're going to get all these people going, here, look what I bought. Look what I made you. Here, do you want one? You're not going to make me have it alone, are you? It's my birthday. Come on. And that's what they do. It's no different than alcohol and drugs. You get these people, their misery loves company. if they're doing it, they don't want you succeeding. They want you overweight and cancer growing inside you, and they act like they're your friends. But the truth is, they're trying to destroy you. It's a hard pill to swallow. Gives you anxiety sometimes when you're trying to have the right decision. You don't know what you're supposed to do. The whole goal is to learn your boundaries, learn to enforce them. And if people do not abide by your boundaries, then you cut them off completely. Not easy to do, or maybe it is easy to do. I don't know. For me, it's hard because I've been so submissive my whole life. So it's very hard for me to stand my ground, but I'm learning very quickly. And I'm super grateful because the more that I now am able to control my emotions and not take things personally and have boundaries and be able to vocalize them in a logical way so that the person that's infringing on my boundaries understands that they're psychologically handicapped and are doing abusive behaviors and is trying to take away physical power, and I'm aware of it, and I'm not accepting it because I'm not an idiot. Because narcissists think they're pretty smart because they do understand energy. Absolutely. Because they know that when they find somebody to prey off of, to attach to get all their positive energy and lift them up, they know that it's an energy thing. They are aware because the victims aren't aware of what's going on. As soon as you're aware, then you're no longer wanting to be a victim. So you're realizing really fast the truth. So people that are victims have no idea what's going on because no one has told them or no one's taught them how to defend themselves. So when everyone says, you know how to say no, you do this, no, not everyone does because they've been groomed and trained to say no, and they just take it anyways. So eventually what's the point of saying no if everyone just keeps taking it anyways or abusing you anyways if you don't cooperate, or your children if you don't cooperate. So when you keep getting manipulated like this, it manipulates the way they interact with others. And this is important in understanding narcissistic abuse because that's the whole thing. They know exactly what they're doing. And that's why when they get a good victim, especially someone like a foster child or adopted child, because they have no connections. So that's their ideal one because there's no one going to be talking to that person. So they're going to be easily controlled, easily gaslit, easily felt that they're going crazy, easy to abuse their children and threaten because there's no one to get to defend them, no one to fight back for them. So it's the perfect victim. And so the Canadian government did this to me. And I want everybody to know that the Canadian government is an a-hole. All right, it's 10 o'clock. I should probably get going. I'll pack my stuff for my market tomorrow. I hope you have an amazing evening. And remember that you're in control of your reality, and others are going to try to influence you so that your reality is more what they want it to be. You don't have to do that. This is your reality, but just remember that you're going to suffer the consequences of every choice that you make. So, also, there are beings that are watching us, spirit, so you can't get away with anything. And so, don't do anything bad because you can't get away with it. Literally, there's other beings watching you, and so you have to have the consequences of your karma dealt with before you leave Earth. And so you are choosing how much pain and suffering you're going to get in the afterworld by the things that you're doing in this world as well. And you also are choosing how much pain and suffering you have in this world by the choices that you make, as well as how you perceive the things that happen to you. Because things happen to you, and then if you hold a grudge, you make the pain and suffering for you way worse. It would heal much more faster if you're positive and not so hateful. So this is just a reminder that you need to be constantly working on yourself, opening your mind, opening your heart, and being humble and admitting when you're wrong. I love you. Have an amazing evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe. It's tomorrow Saturday. That's Monday to Friday. What's going on here?